side control is too. So the first one we did is blocking the cross face, so that way it doesn't keep you flat on your back, because the earlier you escape, if I'm flat, he has more control, and then it's more work that I have to do to get to my side. So obviously, you want to be your side, controlling the cross face. But sometimes, they have deep pressure or something, and you're flat, but that's okay. As long as I'm blocking the cross face, it's going to be easier for me to get to my side. But I want to have good defensive posture here. If I have my head up like this, my arm, my wrist, this part of my arm isn't as strong as his arm. Because he has gravity on his side and his body weight on the side, so he can just cross my face away and I'm flat. Okay? So from here, if I'm blocking the cross face, I want my head on the ground, like this. Because it's going to be hard for him to get his hand under my head. And if I'm blocking the cross face at the same time, it's going to be really hard for him to have a good solid position on me. Okay? So from here, we're bugging them, and they decide to move their arm over. Okay? Now here, with your hook here, it's okay to kind of follow, but you don't want to go too far over. You don't want to go more than your face over this way, okay? So as he goes over, I kind of let him, once it's here, I stop, and I switch to the back of his arm, okay? Once I switch here, I'm turning and I'm pushing him away, and I lock my arm out all the way, okay? It's like a 2x4, if there's a bend in the 2x4, it's structurally weak, right? So if there's a bend in my arm, he's pushing back into me, I gotta use a lot of strength. I gotta fight his whole body, and it's not gonna work out. But if I lock my arm, it doesn't take me any strength, and he pushes back into me, it's gonna be really hard for him to push back into me, okay? So after I push, I get up onto my elbow, okay? My elbow's pointed out from underneath my body. It's not underneath my body, it's out here. And then from here, scoot your hips back, and then you're into, if they're pushing into you and they turn, then you're in that open guard, or you're able to take them back. Okay? So that's recap of one of the ones that we did. Do we have any questions on that for people? You want to just kind of run through that real quick, a couple times each, just so we remember? So we'll just start from here. It's a couple times. You're here, make sure your head's low, you're blocking cross face. He starts moving, you go with it, push away, and scoot. And then you're, whatever, if they turn towards you, open guard, or take it back, okay? Let's break up, do that just a couple times each, and then we're going to go over new techniques. You can try to bait him or whatever, but sometimes you just have really solid control, and you got to find a way out of it, okay? So, here, maybe we try our regular skates, we get this on the inside, we'll try bridging, but you're just blocking everything and nothing's working, okay? So we can try going the other way. So from here, we can do is get this hand on the inside. So we can bridge a little bit, and then on the way down, you keep your frame on the way down, sneak your hand on the inside here, this hand, okay? And then grab something, grab D, and then grab it here, okay? Now from here, it's really close to the same principle in that you keep your arms straight, and you're going to push them away and scoot your hips to the inside, okay? From here, you bridge this way, and once you bridge, you sit up, straighten your arm away, okay? So at the same time, you're going to scoot your hips underneath. So bridge, scoot your hips underneath as you straighten your arm this way, okay? And you can use your frame too a little bit if you want to. So you bridge, do that, and then lock your arms out. That's really important because they're going to be trying to come into you as hard as they can. So that's just going to stretch you out. So everything else is the same. Come up to your elbow, and then you're back into guard. Okay. So get this hand on the inside. So bridge. Put your hand on the inside, okay? Grab fabric, bridge over the shoulder. You can go over their hand, but a lot of times they'll move it. So you go over, and then stretch, and shoot your hips out towards them. Lock your arm, okay? Come up, to your elbow, pull your top knee out, and then whatever you want to do. Try to look for an underhook or just open guard. Okay? Questions on that? No, pretty simple. Some of the toughest parts of this one are getting this hand underneath. So you gotta create space for that. So you bridge up, and then on the way down, that's when space is made. It's not made on the way up. So here, on the way down, bring your arm on the inside. Okay? And this will set up other escapes too, down the road. Grab some fabric right here, and you have a good solid frame here. My elbows are tucked in, so it's not gonna be able to really control my arms at all. Okay? So then from here, I'm bridge up and a little bit over my other shoulder. Then I start scooting my hips in towards him and lock my top arm away. Come up over my elbow, scoot my hips away, and then the fight's on from there. A lot of times you can trap the underhook and go for the back. Questions? No? Yeah. Which part?
So the very beginning, I did.
Got a bridge. So right here, I have my frame. He has a crop space. So this hand, he's usually bracing here. So I bridge. It's like a normal skate bridge. I did one. Hold my frame here, and then I just drop my hips. So this hand comes in right in front of his shoulder to there, and then this hand feeds. So you have a good frame there. Does that answer your question? Okay. So that's going to be a tough part, and then the other tough part is it feels awkward bridging away a little bit and then scooting your butt out this way to lock your arm. Because we're used to, feet here, you're kind of open back here. But with his arm over here, you're not as open, but it's still, it's still, you're able to do it. So as long as you lock that top arm and then come up. And then this is really important to keep straight, keep them away.
Are you pushing with both arms when you initially do that?
A little bit, yeah, once I'm here. Yeah, the bridge, just a little bit to kind of get a little bit of space. And then quick escape that way.
Okay.
And then walk. Come up.
Would this
And then chances are to be here. Huh?
would this work on a really strong person?
Yeah. Yeah. Because the reason why, because once you're here, the reason why is the space, you're using your whole body to make the space. Okay? So I want for me to escape side control, the less weight of his that's on me, the better. So, the more weight that he has on top of me, it's going to be hard for me to escape. So, you can kind of work back and forth. You can bridge into him and then bridge away. You know what I mean? So, if they're just really heavy on you, if you bridge into them, that gets the weight going away, and then bridge away, it kind of directs it off of you. Make sense? Okay, let's give that one a shot. So we're going to go over another escape, and it's a little bit different, and you'll see if you guys were here. I think some of the final classes that I did at the old place, the principal in here is similar. Okay, so if you're in side control, person on top, this happens a lot, and the person on the bottom starts escaping, just a normal escape, and you feel that knee coming through. A lot of people will switch their hips this way, like this, and then scoot back, and then like that. But they'll switch their hips this way. Even if they don't start escaping, a lot of people will come side control like this and just stay, Keisekatame. Okay, so we're gonna go over unescape from Keisekatame. Okay, so here it is. Now it's really, really important. Super important. So important thing, the number one thing is this elbow on the bottom. because this is what's keeping me flat on my back. I want to get that in. So the sooner you can get that in, the better. So we're going to start with just having my elbow in here, and this hand up here like this. Okay? A lot of times they'll have their hand low. It'll be hard for you to get a frame to try to frame away. Okay? So we're going to have this here. Really important. Try to get your elbow in between your bodies here, because there's a lot of escapes here. Just the general principle from the first escape that I showed was bridging, get your knee through, right? And start getting your guard, or from here start going for omoplatas, arm bars, triangles, all that kind of stuff. So that's one principle. The other principle is getting their hips on top of your hips, so that way you can reverse the position. Okay. So my elbow's in between our bodies, and he might be pulling up on it, but I don't let him have my elbow. My elbow's glued to my side in between my ribs and his hips. Okay. So this hand, I'm gonna come here and get a good grip on his lap over here, and I pull it into me. I bridge. I'm gonna bridge up, so I can create space underneath his butt. Here, and then I get my leg, shove my knee underneath his butt. Okay. Now that I have his hips basically on my hips, I'm going to make his head heavy to make his body light. Okay. So what I'm going to do is use my hand and pull his head towards my shoulder, and using my elbow and his hips to keep his body, his hips on mine. Okay. So his head comes this way, and I walk my hips underneath and keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking, and you end up in your own side control. Okay? And you end up in a really good side control too, because you keep this grip under their lap, you have a super good crossface. There. Okay? So let's try that again. Let's start with regular side control. Just right here. Yeah. So I'm here. I start, maybe trying to escape. He switches. I keep my elbow. I make sure my elbow is down in between me and him. Okay. Then from here, you can use your arm when you bridge to kind of get his weight going forward, just enough so I can get my knee underneath. Scoop my knee. He has to be like sitting on my thigh, inside of my thigh. Okay. Then from here, pull. Get his upper body heavy, so his lower body's light. I can use my hips, or my elbow in his hips to keep his hips on mine. And I walk underneath, keep walking. Until his hips end up right on top of mine. As soon as his body's on top of mine, I turn right over. Do a nice solid thing for myself. Okay? Any questions on that? Yeah.
No bridging at all during that walking.
No.
Can you
Pulling him.
toward the end?
Yeah, pulling his head towards the mat, towards your opposite shoulder. Gets his head heavy. If you guys remember, the same kind of concept I went over when they did like a knee slice pass. Here. Okay? He had his knee down, so I braced here, bump him this way, and I scoop my hips underneath. You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Same stuff. We'll get his head heavy, so his legs are light. Scoop my hips underneath. Okay? Questions on that? No? Give that a shot.